Why modern power looks immoral, even when no one is evil. A structural explanation, not a moral one. There is a growing sense of confusion that many people share, even if they struggle to put it into words. Decisions are made that follow the rules, respect procedures, and check every institutional box, yet they still feel wrong. Policies are announced calmly, rationally, even politely, yet the emotional reaction is outrage, disappointment, or exhaustion. What makes this especially unsettling is that there is often no clear villain, no obvious tyrant, no single figure to blame, and yet the outcome still feels immoral. This video is not about corruption. It is not about conspiracies. It is not about bad intentions. It is about structure. What if modern power looks immoral, not because it is evil, but because it is impersonal? The expectation that power should be moral. To understand why modern power feels so disappointing, we need to begin with a psychological expectation most people carry without realizing it. We expect power to be moral, not just lawful, not just functional, but morally aware. We expect those who make decisions to see the human cost of those decisions, to feel their impact, and to care in a way that resembles personal responsibility. This expectation feels reasonable because, historically, power was often embodied in visible individuals, kings, rulers, leaders whose faces we could identify. Our moral instincts evolved in small groups, where authority was personal and accountability was direct. In that context, morality and power could coexist at a human scale, but modern power no longer operates at that scale. The expectation remains, but the structure has changed. And that mismatch is where disappointment begins. We expect morality from power because we imagine power as a person. Modern power is not a person. How structure replaces intention. In contemporary systems, power is distributed across procedures, protocols, metrics, and risk models. Decisions are rarely made by a single individual acting freely. They emerge from layers of process designed to ensure consistency, predictability, and scalability. This is where intention starts to lose its central role. A decision can be made with good intentions at every level and still produce a cold outcome. Not because empathy was absent, but because empathy does not scale cleanly. Moral nuance does not aggregate well across large systems. Modern power optimizes for stability, not sensitivity, for predictability, not responsiveness. This does not require malice, it requires design. Structures select for behaviors that reduce uncertainty. They reward those who follow procedure and penalize those who deviate, even when deviation might feel morally justified in a specific case. Over time, intention becomes secondary to compliance with the system's logic. Structure does not choose cruelty. It chooses consistency. Why emotion is actively filtered out. Many people interpret the emotional distance of modern power as indifference or lack of care. But from the system's perspective, emotion is not neutral. Emotion introduces unpredictability. Unpredictability increases risk. Large systems are highly sensitive to instability. They are designed to dampen variance, not amplify it. Emotional responsiveness, while essential in personal relationships, creates irregularity in decision-making at scale. As a result, modern power minimizes emotional input, not because it despises humanity, but because emotion disrupts coordination. This creates a painful paradox. The more complex and large-scale a system becomes, the more it must distance itself from individual emotional realities. And the more it does so, the more immoral it appears to those affected by its decisions. What feels immoral is often what feels impersonal. The moral scale mismatch. At the heart of this tension lies a fundamental mismatch of scale. Human morality is local. It is contextual. It is deeply emotional. We evaluate fairness by proximity, by story, by visible suffering. Our moral judgments evolved to function within small groups, where cause and effect were closely linked. Modern power operates at an abstract level. It manages probabilities, aggregates outcomes, and balances competing risks. Its moral horizon is statistical rather than personal. When a decision is correct within the logic of the system, but devastating at the level of lived experience, the result is moral outrage, not because the decision-makers are evil, but because the moral lenses are misaligned. Modern power does not fail morally. It operates on a different moral scale. Why this feels worse today? This tension is not new, but it feels sharper today for one reason: visibility. We see more. We know more. We are exposed, in real time, to decisions and their consequences. But visibility has increased faster than responsiveness. Power has become more transparent without becoming more personal. When people can witness outcomes but cannot influence or receive acknowledgement from the system, frustration intensifies. This is not because modern power has become colder. It is because the gap between perception and participation has widened. Visibility without responsiveness creates moral tension. Reframing. Without excusing. Understanding this structural reality does not mean excusing harm. It does not mean accepting suffering as inevitable or dismissing accountability. But moral outrage alone does not explain how systems function, and therefore cannot effectively change them. When we focus exclusively on intention, we miss the architecture that shapes outcomes. When we search for villains, we overlook incentives. When we personalize systemic behavior, we remain trapped in emotional cycles that never resolve. A more productive question is not, why are they so immoral? But, what structure produced this result? When power looks immoral, the mistake is not always in intention, but in assuming intention still governs the system.